Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. I'm in the car and I parked in the shade and I was thinking, Slurpees are expensive, $1.76, right? Well, at Dollar Tree, how about this? You can buy this for $1. This stuff's good. Let's see, 24 ounces, and in here is 6 serving sizes. I like to think of myself as eating for 6. This is not a mukbang. This is disasters and survival. Okay, remember the video I did? Yummy, yummy. It was on survival. It was the monkeys, and the scientists observed the monkeys to see what they would do. And there was a drought, and basically all the monkeys died but a few. That's why God gave us maps. That's why the early explorers were so darned important. Okay, so the first thing you want to do to ensure your survival is you want to get good maps. Remember in the day you used to find maps anywhere. Well, they're harder to find. What you want to find is atlases, good ones that show every little thing in your state, in your city, everything. And the best way to find them is the thrift stores. You want to have a map in your car, and you want to have a good atlas in the house. Okay, so now $1 Dollar Tree. Now, I could get some ice in McDonald's, but I already have a Coke. I was at McDonald's earlier working on my social media. Okay, if you guys are Christians, God has given us quite a few disasters. Like when people are bad, He sends wars. I don't think anyone's got to send them. They just happen. But they're very deadly disasters. That's why we don't want to give up our weapons. How are we supposed to defend ourselves? If an enemy attacks us and none of us have weapons, hey TJ, I like that knife you had. That was a good one. I'm gonna get me some of those. Swap meets have good supplies of knives. Famines are very dangerous. That's why you want to stockpile food. I think you can go about 3 days with, you'll be very, very hungry, but you've got to have water and food, mostly water. Best way to protect that, stockpile food. People make too much of stockpiling food. Just stockpile a lot of food so that if you couldn't get any food or you went broke, you're not going to die. Wild animals. Okay, when wild animals can be very dangerous? When they're hungry. So if there was no food and something happened and wild animals got very, very hungry, it would be very, very bad for people. Even a small hyena would be very dangerous. And so, hey, we don't have any weapons. We need our weapons. Plagues. Yeah, plagues can easily happen. The bubonic plague is a good example. That was very dangerous. What is that? Disease by mosquitoes? This stuff is good. Pestilence, that would be insects like locusts, like flies. Are super dangerous and nasty. Okay, the most deadly deadly things that kill the most people are drought, because that leads to famine, and flooding. Those are the most deadly things that can happen. Why? Because when you have floods like we did, you can't plant any food. So approximately 20% of the land has been flooded, so you can expect at least a 20% increase in food. Okay, say, what if you're barely getting by now? Well, that's why I keep telling you guys, if you're really, really broke, go to the food banks, go to the churches, go to the pantries, and stock up on canned food. Seniors might be hard hit. And then what you can expect is increase in rent. So what they expect people to do is just to like team up, like 10 people living in an apartment. In the last apartment I had, they thought there was, and a few dogs. That didn't bother them at all, no. I was very lucky I got out of there. The most deadly disasters, drought and flooding. And a lot of people are saying these droughts and floods are man-created. What they're doing is they're controlling the rain, and they're causing bad storms. Then there's hurricanes. If you live in a hurricane area, you've got to be ready. And tornadoes, those are very deadly. And we live here. We have, you know, we have earthquakes and fires, very, very deadly. When the big fires start, we usually have some idea. At the first sign of fire, you start getting ready to evacuate. You don't sit there until they give you the reverse 9/11. And then you need a map, because if you have to evacuate, you don't want to evacuate into another fire area. And another thing is they close down all the roads. So if you have a map, there's alternative ways around the fires. Earthquakes, okay, you need to know where the San Andreas Fault is, where these, we have fault lines, and there's leaking magma. Those go mostly through the middle of the state. So why is that dangerous to everyone? If one of the dams bursts, and it triggers an event where one dam bursts, you need to be ready for 12 feet of water. So if you can't do that, you need to evacuate. Good idea anyway. Floods, even small floods, are very dangerous. You know, where we live, every now and then, you know, there'll be some water. It doesn't have to be that deep to kill you in a car. Okay, volcanoes. You need to evacuate if there's an eruption. You don't wait until, you know, the lava's hitting the back bumper. Mudslides, those are very dangerous. We had a couple of them. I saw one, and the fireman screamed. That's when you know it's bad. That was where was that? It was somewhere in San Diego. And a guy insisted on running into his house when, you know, there was a mudslide. Wouldn't you just love to know what he was getting? I figure it was money, jewelry, drugs, who knows. Avalanche. That's bad. Those can happen. Tsunami. You know, there's been reports of tsunami, and the parents had no idea, and the little kid goes, "Mom, a tsunami is coming," because the water was flowing in the opposite direction, and they ran for their lives, and they survived. Another thing, and it was made by Jesus's child, she said, "Run for the hills." Now that is good advice, because in the Bible, Jesus himself said to run for the hills. I know someone who avoided the chemically in the Mideast because they ran for the hills. Okay, alien invasion, real or phony. Either way, it's probably going to be bad. Um,